What's happening, troops? Episode number 2. We're going to be with one of the most breathtaking entrepreneurs at the age of 24. It's Scott McClure. He's got 3 companies. They're generating close to 6 figures a month. He's fucking crushing it on every level possible. He's someone that it just has the mindset towards giving. That's why he started up his new company in Scott McClure Mentorship. And that's why he's changing lives all over the world. And he's going to go on to be easily a millionaire in the next couple of years. He's absolutely fucking crushing it. The kind of stuff that we did touch on with some of his kind of lockdown projects, how he evolved into business, how he's got the mindset that he's got today, and how much he believes in law of attraction was really portrayed in the episode as well. He even had a little, incredible business during that lockdown period, like I brought up just there, where he generated, like 50 plus K in the space of a couple of months by just taking a wee lockdown idea and just fucking crushing it. And in terms of how that's evolved, and in terms of how his brands have evolved, he's someone that, in terms of a business podcast, this is absolutely the place to be. I know this is the part that people don't usually enjoy. They usually skip through it, but I promise you're going to want to listen to this, especially if you're in business. If you're someone that takes your business incredibly serious in terms of the legal side of things, I know you're even probably thinking there in terms of like, John, what are you getting into with a podcast episode? But with Scott's episodes, we got into a lot about business, different brands, different companies. And in terms of when it comes to your company, it needs to be protected. You need legal structures in place. You need to make sure that the contracts are airtight. And you also need to make sure that you've got these beautiful terms and conditions that make sure that you don't get rinsed in any way, shape or form by either potential customers in the future, potential business partners. I know that can come across as if you're distrusting, but I promise you, trips, you're going to want stuff in place that is going to protect you, but also going to protect the person on the other end of the contract. That is brought to you by Reed Collections, Reed Credit Solutions. It's a phenomenal company. It's the kind of place that you want to go to. It's not a kind of standard in terms of like when people think about legal shit, they think about solicitors, lawyers, someone sitting there in a suit. Alison is truly incredible. She'll take you forward through every single step. She'll make sure that you're cushy as well. She'll make sure that the individual on the other end of the contract is also cushy. And she'll make sure that your T's and C's, your privacy notices, your contracts actually stand at court if it ever did get to that stage. So thank you for listening. If you didn't skip through it, I'm much appreciated, and enjoy the episode with Scott McClure. Well, this will be the second episode of the fucking second season, mate, which is absolutely mental. In terms of how I want to get it started, mate, I want to think about how we met in the first place, right? And also we're going to get into a bit about like who Scott McClure is and what you actually do and stuff like that. But for any of the viewers or listeners that are watching, I met Scott back in like November, December time. We've been following each other for ages though. Or I'd been following you for ages anyways through Nathan. Nathan McKee, the absolute fucking boy, by the way. I love that boy, mate. Actually, he's
classmate.
Absolute dynamite.
He was my competition in sales at one point, man. But he's good pal, mate.
Yeah, he's absolutely dynamite. But one of the things I wanted to touch on to begin with, mate, was that when I first met you, usually it happens whenever it just free flows with somebody. Things just click.
It, man.
We sat for like 3.5 hours, mate, over a breakfast meal that must have sat there stone cold, exhausted, mate.
Nobody. The place was empty, mate, but it didn't feel empty, man, did it not?
That was exactly that, mate. And when we were sitting there, I came and we were speaking about, obviously, one of your companies, Allure Clothing. And at the time, I'd just started Young and Lazy. That's and right. I didn't want any sort of advice on it or anything like that, because I knew how it would potentially come across, of potentially stepping on toes or anything like that. And that just got swept completely to the side, mate. And you just started hit me with all sorts of advice of all the things that you felt like you'd done wrong or the mistakes that you'd made and anything that could help guide me. And at that time, that was the first time we'd met, and you just had this pure abundance mindset, mate, of just helping people. And for me, it was not that I didn't expect it, but it was the fact that it was literally the first time we'd met. And for me, like anyone listening to this, man, having that abundance mindset of just giving in any way in which you can to help whoever, it will come back tenfold.
100%.
And one of the things I wanted to get into or get into the mindset of was like how you actually adopted that kind of mindset.
Helping people.
Yeah, quite early
on. It, man. So obviously I run a few e-commerce brands, and see when I get results, mate, like buzzing. See when I get sales coming through my phone, I get that wee ding ding noise coming through my phone. It's still to this day, man, that feeling's amazing. But you'll probably know yourself with like and stuff like that. When you help other people, it's actually you get a much better feeling.
Yeah.
So I get a better feeling helping other people than actually getting my own business results, which is mad to be fair, but I think that's just a human thing, isn't it, man? If you're a genuine nice person, you like to impact other people's lives, and I feel like obviously we connected on that day, and I was like happy to help you.
Yeah.
To be honest,
and it was having that kind of abundance mindset is something that is just benefits you just tenfold, mate, because it's rather than having that scarcity like mindset where there's a shortage of cash or shortage of opportunities or shortage of, you know, if there's competition, it's like they're taking that away from me, and people really, they can really get in a fucking rut with it, mate, where it's
That's
like
it.
they struggle to build meaningful connections, they struggle to build anything that is fulfilling as well, and it's just like, I think you hit it the nail on the head when it comes to like the yen aspect. I had a new client come on board. I think you probably Jude Fredman. You know, I came across
Don't
him
know,
now. He's
man.
a photographer, mate. He's absolutely shit hot, bro. He works with like some incredible people, mate. And when he came on board, he was telling me about how there's nothing more meaningful in it because he wants to go into like the therapy field. So he's a
Yep.
photographer and videographer, but he wants to go into the therapy field. And he was like, for me, there's just nothing more fulfilling than just helping people. And what he brought to the table was like the reason why I wanted to work with you. He said that to me was because you must get that buzz every single day of just helping people, mate. And that's all yen is, mate. It's literally just sitting.
That's
and
what it's for, man. 100%.
opening the mind.
Buy clothing itself, man. It's obviously a populated market, probably one of the biggest ones, especially with social media now. Anybody can sort of start a clothing brand, and you've got like influencers want to start sort of their own merch.
Yeah.
So literally, clothes is just a desire now. It's not really a need. Who needs a t-shirt? Everybody's got enough t-shirts.
Yeah.
Everybody's got enough hoodies.
Yeah.
It's a desire. So that's obviously what we try and build with Allure. But aye, it's probably one of the most populated markets. So see, when a client comes to me, I want to start a clothing brand, it needs to be more than the clothes, man.
Yeah.
It needs the brand. People buy the brand at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And clothes itself as well, man. Most people know it. Brands like Palm Angels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They probably get the clothes just as cheap as us,
Yeah.
but it's just where they sort of put themselves in the market. They want to get seen as luxury.
Yeah.
They never do discounts, these luxury brands, because they don't want to be perceived
Yeah.
as sort of mid-range. But they'll do well at it because there's people that just want a status or and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many factors that play into it that, like, when I first came into business, mate, I remember, like, some of the advice I was getting off people that just, it was clear, like, the people that had, it's like when you're at uni, for example, and you're getting taught by somebody that's not actually went and done what they're teaching you. They're there to tick the box of a PowerPoint and to give you a presentation on it and stuff like that. When I first came into business, mate, I had a couple of people that I came across, and some of the advice I was getting, mate, was just, at the time I didn't know what it was, but it was just pure scarcity, mate, and it was clear that they'd never succeeded or made anything happen. It wasn't until I met Paula, and she was like the exact opposite, mate. I remember I had a guy that I was with to begin with, and at the time my prices were £50 a month, right? But I was actually offering a 1-to-1 a week, so it was like a weekly check-in with clients and make sure their business was going okay, and to see if anyone within the network could help them and stuff like that. And I remember I was sitting with him, mate, and I was breaking down the business model and what I was going to do. He turned around to me, mate, and he was like, what makes you think you can charge those prices? 50 quid, bro. 50 quid a month, mate.
That's cheap as it.
I know. And
That's cheap as it.
And as well, like, it was my time. So technically it was coming at like £12.50 an hour, mate. If that, and also on top of that, I had networking events as well.
I take it you value yourself more than
Oh,
that.
fucking too right, mate. So when he hit me with that, mate, I was like, I was bewildered. I was just blown away, mate. And I remember I walked downstairs, mate, and also my mum's in business. She has been for just coming out about 4 years. And I remember telling her, mum was like, mate, like, she literally was just like, you need to fuck that off right now. Like,
somebody can't see your value, then it's just going to be a sore head in the long run.
Exactly.
That's the type of person you don't want to work with anyway.
Exactly. And it was, as soon as that, like, at that time, I'd struggled with, not commitment levels, but when you're in that scarcity mindset, when you're first coming into business, and when obviously we're going to speak about how the kind of turning point for you and what actually made you go, you know what, fuck it, I'm pursuing my dream of Allure and stuff like that. And to begin with, like, that scarcity mindset of like not wanting to part ways with your money, you know, seeing almost like the risk rather than the reward, and rather than seeing like, say I invest in a coach, right, and they're shit.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not I don't get the value from it, the lesson that will come with it, and people speak about it all the time, but the lesson, like, I would have missed something to believe that they could deliver the value to me.
Yeah.
So for me to learn that lesson, I just need to figure out what I missed.
Yeah.
And then from there, it will allow me to just thrive, and I'll never make that mistake again. And when I first met Paula, mate, it was funny because that engagement happened. I voice noted her, and I was like, Paula, And it's all that's it, man. I can't believe what's just been said to me. And Paula was all about money as commitment. And it was, she'd never give anything away for free. It had to be, the commitment had to be on the table.
And that's why I'd rather sell a high ticket program, because it weeds out the people that aren't going to take action. Because it is a commitment. See, if you're high ticket, say it's like a £5,000 program. My program's no £5,000, but let's just say it was, because it might be at one point. You're going to weed out the people that aren't ready to take action. And therefore you're going to get better clients, better results. And they'll make their money back. Depends what field you're in. With e-commerce, I'm building people an asset. So a brand, you could make your money back in the first year, but like a brand's set to stay. As long as you keep up to date and constantly doing the things I'm telling you, then it's going to be an asset. It's going to be something that you can sell for the rest of your life if you want to. You know what I mean? You can sell the brand on to somebody else if you want, but I would much rather sell high ticket stuff, and I don't like courses either, because you can't really see if they're actually going to make their way to the end of the course. With my coaching business, it's obviously a program with accountability. So it's sort of the same as yourself, man. So it's like one-to-one coaching calls, group coaching calls. And if you're not turning up, well, that's why you're not getting results. And
it is, mate. It's like what people don't realise, for example, with that guy saying to me that £50 would be too much, for example, which was an absolute joke. Like, what is the commitment in terms of why the fuck would they turn up every week, mate? What would be the point, bro? And if something else came up that was more important or required more monetary commitment or whatever it is, like I was obviously going to fall at the bottom of the barrel. And it's eliminating that aspect, that scarcity like mindset, and understanding the value that you're delivering, and having people as well to. People will say to you like you're too cheap, you need to up your prices, and it's
people
not until
telling me I'm too cheap. Other coaches, man.
And it's not until the penny drops though where you realise the worth and the value you're delivering, and sometimes all you'll need is just any sort of proof of concept, mate. And my proof of concept came from like Andrew Ellis, who massive in the NFT and crypto side of things. Going on, he's actually been trained by Paula to go on and be a 7-figure coach himself.
Amazing, man.
Incredible guy, mate. He came along straight away, bought 6 months membership up front, mate. Then Blair Colley, exactly that. Blair Colley, 20-year-old property investor, doing an absolute mazza, mate. Just like him and his dad just secured investment for a £1.5 million care home, 36 bedroom, absolute mazza, mate. And he was the same, bought 6 months up front, and the commitment levels I got from them, bro, was just tenfold, mate. It was absolutely amazing. And as soon as that 6 months was up, Andrew sat down and he was like, what about a year now? And it was like, that was a proof of concept I was getting when I was like, they wanted like part ways with that at the big, like in the first,
that's it,
right at the very beginning. And back then as well, YM was fuck all, mate, compared to what it is now. And for them to like be willing to invest that much in it. And at that time as well, when you get that first client that is that proof of concept where like, I'll pay for 6 months.
That's it.
It's the feeling.
Good feeling, man.
Yeah.
Really good feeling.
The feeling is fucking nuts, mate. So when did it happen for you then? When it was like the turning point of when, because we briefly spoke about the fact that you're a cushy job, you're making a considerable amount of money for your age in the sales side of things, and you decided that you're going to take a plunge and go full time within business, mate.
That's it, man. I've had a few turning points, man. So when I kind of adopted that entrepreneur mindset, man, I can remember it quite clearly. One of my mates, Connor, we kind of met quite randomly, like so randomly, basically. I'd been out one night with my pals. We get kicked out of a party, and I'm sort of walking into a park, basically heading home. But we'll still get the speaker playing. Obviously, we're only 17 at this point, right? And there wasn't any recently, but Connor, we didn't actually know him. We went to our school. I think he was maybe 2 years younger than us. He's walking into the park as well for a night out, different party. Just kind of met past at this park, and we're like, right, do you want to get on it with us kind of thing, man? And he's like, aye, why not? So just one of the daft things when you're younger. So having me didn't leave that party, like maybe 5 minutes later when I bumped into Connor. Connor ended up, obviously me and him had a lot in common. So we kind of secluded ourselves for like that group. Obviously we were drinking all the time. I just completely stopped that. This is obviously back when I was 17, which is unusual for a 17-year-old when you stay in Glasgow. And he got a job in a call centre. Call centre was basically cold calling. It was for home improvements.
Okay.
Kind of target based scenario, but it wasn't really good money at the time.
Yeah.
It was £6 an hour,
Right.
which is mad. I would never work for that now. But
Yeah.
back then, it wasn't that it was good. We just enjoyed it, man. Our perception in that place was like kind of Wolf of Wall Street vibes.
Yeah.
We got like all our pals in here. So when we first started, it was just me and him. Then it was like any pal that needed a job were like, right, come in at this call
Yeah.
centre, man. So we had like a table just full of our pals.
Mhm.
But we treated it seriously. So it was like sort of like a laugh and a joke with your pals, but we wanted to get a result.
Yeah.
But I sort of worked my way up that company. So I went for like £6 an hour, moved up to the next job, which was a confirmer, confirming appointments. Then I realised that target based environment is where I do well. If anybody puts a target in front of me, commission based sales, like that's where I do
Yeah.
well. But the money that they capped was kind of capped, man. I was only getting like £10 a call commission on top, man. I was like, right, we're going to do well at this, know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was like, right, cool. My pal tried out basically door canvassing for the same company.
Okay.
But the commission for that is like crazy money. So people obviously look down on people that were doing door canvassing and stuff like that. The money's no great, but we get paid basically £100 every time we get somebody left with a quote for windows. That's how much they valued that at.
Yeah.
And me and Connor were like, cool. Obviously, the people that were doing this job were all older, so they're all over 40. There was nearly new people sort of doing this job. This was kind of the old timers. So
Yeah.
me and Connors came in. They're like, it wasn't like a desirable job. Let's be honest, champing doors at snow. But for
Yeah.
us, we used to watch like Jordan Belfort and stuff like that. So we were like, right, this is your sort of stuff,
Yeah.
man. So we trialled that out. My first week of doing that, I remember quitting the call centre. They didn't want me to actually take the leap. They said I didn't have enough confidence. I wasn't the type of person to go champing doors. I think they just wanted to keep a hold of me, sort of thing. And I was like, nah, I'm going to do this, man. My first week I made £500, which obviously for just not even learning any skills, man, just going out and batting doors for a wee while, man. So
Yep.
I was like, right, cool. So what's the next step? We'll only got 5 people that week. Well, I'm going to go for 10 now. And 10 was like the sort of thing where £1,000 a week,
Yep.
18 years of age, man, kind of unheard of, especially if you've, I mean, most people either are studying to sort of make that money later on in life.
Yep.
Whereas we're like, we can make this now. What's the point in going and studying to go and get a job later on in life when we can make serious money the now?
Yep.
So we were working for somebody at this point because we didn't have a car. And this is where it's kind of mental, because the guy who we were working for at the time, man, he is really good. He's got his own company and stuff like that. But we just felt like we could do more ourselves, like
Yep.
picking the times we were going out to chapters and stuff like that. Maybe because we were just like insane, mate. We wanted to be champing doors for 10 o'clock in the morning or away to 8 o'clock at night. Whereas this guy's got a family, man. He's wanting in the house.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, cool, we could do this on our own, but it can't be done if you've not got a car. Well, that's what people thought.
Yep.
So we were like, nah, we can jump trains and buses. Know what I mean? That's our mindset. Sure enough, man, we ended up getting into our boss part of the time, and I was like, we want to do this ourselves. He's like, well, you can't become a supervisor until you've got a car. I was like, no, trains and buses. And he's like, nah, it'll no happen, it'll no work, he'll no do it. Kid you not, man, we were getting better results champing doors for jumping trains here, there and everywhere, man. Honestly, it was mental. And they were calling us like the proclaimers and that. Because of how many steps we were doing, honestly, I was getting in at night, mate, and my legs were done in.
Yeah.
A few times it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. I was like, to Connor, I was like, man, maybe he was right, man. I mean, my legs are killing me here. But nah, man, the twos just had that same mindset, that same connection. Nothing else stopped us at that time.
Yeah.
And then that led us to obviously be one of the best door can teams, and we were like the younger ones, the newcomers, and they just didn't like it too much, man. But
Yeah.
that was door can. So that took 3 years. Now I knew for a fact I wasn't going to be champing doors for the rest of my life, but the earner was insane. Saved up a lot of money doing it. Didn't really know too much about investing. If I did, man, I'd probably be a millionaire now, man, if I put it into Bitcoin back when I was 18. But nah, the money didn't get spent well, man. It gets spent on stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Which we can obviously go into, man.
Yeah.
Kind of things went sort of downhill. But I just kind of get sick of champing doors. Me and Connor was the ones who started, obviously, Allure.
Yeah.
Which we can go into the now if you want. So
yeah, for sure, bro.
Me and Connor, when we were out champing doors, we just kind of knew, look, this is a job, right? We're making good money. We need to invest it. didn't know too much about the stock market, didn't know much about crypto either.
Yeah.
I think it was really a thing back then, too much. So we're like, cool, start a business. But we were like heavily into the law of attraction. So we obviously thought coincidence that we met so randomly. You know what I mean? That was law of attraction. He was the one that told me about it. Got me to read The Secret and stuff like that. I kind of adopted that law of attraction mindset. And I went see my first shift in the call centre. They had a projector on the wall, and it was Conor McGregor talking about law of attraction. I was like, this was meant to happen. Do you know what I mean? This is mad. Can't believe this, man. And then obviously we would go back to his, just sit and watch law of attraction videos. So we were like, right, what could we start a brand about? What are we passionate about? I was like, well, we're both passionate about the law of attraction, man. We sit here all day watching these videos. Probably spent too much time, right? I'll be honest, watching law of attraction videos because it's all about mindset. Could have probably adopted 10 new skills, man. But because I've spent that much time now, my mindset's just kind of stuck now.
Yeah.
But, so so basically, we'll start a clothing brand based on law of attraction. So it was never about fashion, right? We weren't really into clothes.
Yeah.
But we're like, how can we spread the message of the law of attraction? Well, we can do that through a clothing brand.
Yeah.
And that was the whole concept. It wasn't actually called Allure Clothing, by the way, when we first started it.
What was it?
It's called Create Your Reality, which is pure gimmicky, man. And that's like, when he just wasn't as passionate as me for the clothing brand at the very beginning. So we kind of parted ways. He decided, look, man, that isn't for me. And I was like, right, cool. But it was a good thing, man, for both of us. He's ended up going away and doing other things, which left me to make a decision. Am I going to keep doing a clothing brand? Bearing in mind, we were only drop shipping at the time.
Yeah.
We didn't buy any money on stock. That was like the first hurdle for me. For me, if I'm taking this over, I'm going to do it properly. But it made me change the whole vision because it was mine. I was like, right, cool. I can kind of basically make this the way I want it to be. Which was, first of all, changing the name, man. It was too gimmicky. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to make the law of attraction stylish, but no actually for people to look at the clothing brand and no actually know it's about law of attraction until they maybe get a jacket where it's got like a quote on it in the sleeve, or if it's got like they put leaflets and stuff like that in. With the concept law of attraction. I didn't want it to be like law of attraction quotes on a t-shirt sort of brand. So I just changed the full concept slightly and ran with it myself.
And what was the point where you're like, fuck this, fuck the selling side of things, I'm going full time with it? Like, what was the thought process behind it?
That's it. So obviously I ended up meeting my pal Mark, who runs a clothing brand with me now. I met him again, pure coincidence, man, pure randomly. So I was drinking at the time, man, quite heavily, man, and I stopped chatting doors actually.
Yeah.
I just get sick of it. I was working myself. And I just honestly couldn't bring myself to chap doors myself anymore, man. And I just found myself going backwards. Probably like one of the worst points in my life, to be honest, man. And I managed to come through it, obviously. But I was out on a night out with my old pals, really. On a Saturday night, I think it was like Nico's we went to. We went in there and we're taking like single photos, like me and my other pal, me and him. And Mark's came up to me quite randomly. It's like, do you want me to just take a photo off for ease kind of thing? I was like, aye mate, aye, on you go. So he's took a photo off for ease. And then I've noticed he's drinking a Beck's Blue, which is obviously a non-alcoholic drink. Yeah. So for me, mate, I've tried to stop drinking I don't know how many times in my life, right? Managed for wee periods of time, but I hadn't really mastered it. And I knew, just with my personality, I'm extreme in everything I do. That's why I run all these businesses, man. I need that for fulfillment. So I'm extreme when I go out at the weekends. That's kind of the way I'm at. So I knew that if I wanted to be successful, I needed to get rid of that in my life. So for me, people like people who are like themselves or who they would like to be. Yeah. And at that point in time, I wanted that, man. I wanted to be able to just go out and no drink. So we got chatting. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I've just started my own clothing brand. I was like, so have I. That mine's on the law of attraction. He pulls out the podcast that he was listening to, the law of attraction thing, and then it was like, I've put my drink down, he's put his drink down. My pals, man, they don't even know where he went. He left me tape, man. I love it. See then, man. Do you know what I mean? Why is he no chatting to birds? You know what I mean? Mate, I swear we must have spoke till the pub shut, mate. Just drinks down. Didn't even put down my drink, mate. We just spoke. About obviously he had his clothing brand, I had mine, just kind of bouncing off each other. But take my number, man. We can go to the gym or something like that. And then, sure enough, we went to the gym together, man, and wasn't it right away that we got him involved in Allure. Obviously, we had to build that trust,
Yeah.
but he did have the business mindset, mate, the exact same as me.
Yeah.
And then we obviously started a company up together, Rapidan.
Yeah.
And then once I realised that he was a good business partner, I was like, right, cool, man. Like, I'm running this on the side, man. Let's just merge this together.
Yeah.
And let's do it. But obviously, to answer your question, man, I feel I had to tell that to get to
Nah, it makes sense, mate.
obviously where we're at, man.
Yeah.
But sales was getting far too much for me, man. Trying to run businesses on the side.
Yeah.
I think what made me no leave quick enough was probably because the money.
Yeah.
And how much money I was making. Like, it's obviously hard to give up. Some people, like, it's like like, you know, the stories that people come up with. It's like, I used to be a pizza delivery boy and then I started my own business. Well, no, I'd worked my way up a company, or this hard work I'd put in, making for like £1,000 to 2,000. My last wage was like £2,400 was my last wage, and my boss is like, "What, you're leaving?" I'm like, "Aye."
Yeah.
That's probably your best wage in how long? And I was like, "I know, man. I'm just looking at the bigger picture, man."
Yeah.
But the main reason for that, man, was time freedom, mate.
Yeah.
I was finishing work, so they had me on strings.
Yeah.
I used to work away for like 6 months at a time, so that's like 24 hours, man. And obviously, Mark's helped me out with the business while I'm working away. That's just isn't working, man.
Yeah.
So I actually remember like the exact time, man. So it was like, I think it was like a Friday night, man. I was like to my boss, look, man. So this is when I was selling windows. I wasn't chatting doors. I was actually getting into sell the windows and stuff like that. And I was just done in, man. Absolutely done in. And I phoned my boss. Now I worked hard as fuck, and I was probably doing, I was like the top salesman at the time. So I felt like I had that leverage where I could go, look, can I take a night off, man? I'm shattered. He obviously wanted me in every lead that he could.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no, you need to go to this lead for me. I can't get anybody else to take it. And I'm like, yeah, okay then. But I didn't want to, mate. I was gubbed.
Yeah.
So on the way to that lead, mate, I've ended up crashing my motor, mate. So I have.
Right.
It wasn't really a bad crash, you know what I mean? But cost me like £600. This guy, you know what I mean? It just wasn't a good situation. Could have been a lot worse, do you know what I mean? And I was like, this is just stress. That's why I've crashed my motor. And I've crashed my motor a few times when I've been stressed, man. That's kind of what was led to it, man. I was like, defo because of that. Go to the Monday, I was like, I'll go back, day one me a week, see how I feel. I've obviously got this in my head, I could leave and just do the sort of clothing brand. And then I go to the Monday and I've been sent an appointment. I've got outside the house. If my boss watches this, he'll be probably raging, man. Banking you what happened, man. Go outside the lead, mate, and I was like, I can't even bring myself to go to the motor here. I swear to God, man. I was like, I've never had this, man. Obviously, like fucking smashing it, mate. Top salesman and that, man. I'm like, I'm gubbed now. This is it, man. My body's telling me it's just no for me now, man. I can't balance it. It was either do that or do the clothing brand, and I was like, so mate, do you know what I done, mate? Actually, it was a Glasgow appointment, and I'm like, nah, man. So I drove my motor all the way to Edinburgh. It was a pure nice day. I was like, right, cool. Just leave the phone in the motor, man. I just went a nice wee walk, man, just to try, because I was stressed at my box, man.
Yeah.
Went a wee walk, man. I was like, right, definitely the right decision, man. I've calmed down now, and I still feel like this is it.
Yeah.
But obviously, it wasn't just about the sales job getting too much, man. Like, Allure, Mark had been made redundant with his job.
Right.
And we're obviously paying him a good enough wage to not have to work. I just didn't want to give up that, man. I just had worked so hard with it. I was like, do you know what, Mark? It's like, we're taking this, man. We're both just going to go full time on the businesses.
Yeah.
I might take a hit, but see, long term, I'm not going to take a hit.
Yeah.
And see, just having the time freedom, mate, that was the main thing for me. Literally wake up, and don't get me wrong, right? You find yourself probably working just as hard, but it's that way where if I don't feel it working, I'm not going to work then.
Yeah.
That sort of feeling, and that was like the time where I was like, right, cool. Need to get this up and just get full pelt now with Allure.
Aye, and it's something. There's a couple of things. One, I was buckling right because I just imagined like just leaving your phone, mate, and it was like something at a movie. You're just going a walk, mate, and it's like you're just
lost, man. That's why I left my phone in the motor, man. He was like, why have you not turned probably rapid phone me, man? Why you not turn up to that lead, man? I'm like, can't get myself out the motor, mate, honestly.
And it's definitely something that, like, I think there's a certain element where it is just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, what are you actually doing? Like, you don't enjoy this, you're not passionate about it. It's just very much like, and as well, I think the more you start thinking about something, the more you get deeper into thought about it, and you start thinking about the other possibilities. you'll say to yourself, right, I'll just ride out for a bit and just see what happens. And it will just come a point where it's almost like a switch where it's like, mate, don't want to fucking do this.
I
And
know.
that was the point
I
for
think that was the
yourself.
point where I actually realised that I valued time and money, because
Mm.
honestly, that money that was coming into my bank, mate, didn't have the time to spend it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, man. Did not have. Good thing is, obviously, it was sort of. It was like, how long? It was not even a year ago. It was only not as it was a year ago. It's well more than a year ago. No, well, I think no. I think it might have been March last year.
Mm.
It was March last year. Left my job, so it'll be like
Yeah.
in a month's time. So it was still kind of lockdown period, so there wasn't too much to be doing, even if I did have the time to be spending money. But I just knew I was like, I need more time, man, just for myself to enjoy myself.
And I think you touched on one bit, and it was but basically like the admiration you had for Mark when he had the non-alcoholic drink, and it's almost like an ignition in it. It's like it just ignites you, but it's like such a weird way to like put any words. But like when you admire someone, the reason why I resonate with it because I had a similar experience with one of my closer mates, like when we were really young, like 15, 16, and I admired him so much that it like sparked this ignition of like not necessarily I can be like that, but it was like, why would I not want to be like that? Why would I not want my mind to be clear? And why would I not want goals that are huge? And why would I not want to do things that are more than what I'm actually going through just now? And it is the admiration that sparks some sort of like, well, if he can do it, so can I.
That's it.
And there's so many turning points that come from that exact moment where and that's one of the reasons about why you're in the first place, mate, because when I turn up on a Tuesday, mate, for the focus group and Blair's sitting telling me he's got a £1.5 million care home, bro, 20 years old, mate. And the fucking projection, I don't even think I can speak about the projection on here, but
It's the network you've got as well.
aye.
100%. That's something that has definitely helped me in sort of, I'd say even like the last few months, man. Sometimes people think like, see, obviously letting pals go and stuff like that, mate. Sometimes it's the pals who go out and drink and that, they actually leave you. It's not like you're doing one better than them, you don't want to speak to them anymore. They find themselves going, I don't have anything in common with this person anymore.
Yeah.
He's no drinking, doesn't smoke weed, he doesn't do all the stuff that we do.
Yep.
So that's how you end up just drifting apart for the people. It's not that you end up falling out, you just don't have anything in common anymore.
Yeah.
And I've found that since I've stopped drinking, since I'm just business orientated, I've got just a small circle of people. Slowly building it, like building that circle to people that are like-minded in that, but I just wouldn't let anybody in that was going to negative influence me, because I'm easily influenced. Put me in a group of people that drink all the time, I'm going to get led. If you go to the barbers long enough, you're going to get a haircut. So I need
a haircut, mate, to be fair. So I've got this beanie on, man. It is definitely, mate, the admiration side of things, the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, like watching someone just do a madness, mate, and you're just sitting there like the self-belief aspect. Like there's this book that I'm reading just now, mate, I recommend it to absolutely everyone. If anyone is watching us that's a member of YN, they're probably sick of hearing me speak about it, mate, because it's like when I get hooked on a book, mate, it's like I limit myself to 10 pages a day, and when I get hooked on a book to the point where I actually have to like deep breath, put the fucking book down, mate. And it's not just because like I want to stick to the 10 pages, just I know that that's like my ceiling for deep learning. That's where I'm like really taking it enough.
That's good.
And it's like this book, it's called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle.
Right.
Have you heard about it or anything
No.
like that? No, mate. Fucking hell, bro. This whole podcast may get derailed by this book, mate.
Is that right?
Because it's absolutely nuts, mate. But like within the book, it basically explains, I'm only about halfway through it, but it talks about like, this is where Paul can maybe chip in on myelin sheath. Are you familiar with myelin?
No.
Paul? No? Okay. So the myelin is basically like, and I don't want anyone coming down me on it if I'm not explaining it properly. If any like neurologists or whatever are listening and thinking like this guy's fucking waffling, I'm going to try and make the most simple sense of it in the most logical terms. Basically, like I believe it's your neurons are firing on all signals, right, when you're basically trying to become talented at something. So we think about it, for me, it was like COD, gaming, that sort of things. So every time you make a mistake and you try and correct it and you come up with a solution, your myelin gets thicker around specific neurons. Right. And those neurons will basically I believe it's like transmitting signals faster the thicker the myelin gets. Honestly, mate, nobody quote me on this, but do your own research. But it is, that was like the logical sense of what I made of it. And when I was like reading the book, it was making so much sense about, essentially, it referred to, you big into football? I think we've kind of spoke about football in this, but I think it was like back in the 1950s, mate, out of fucking nowhere, mate, Brazil produced Pele. And then from there, it was like Brazil just started dominating, mate. And the teams they produced was an absolute madness, mate. And it was this third world country, you know, underdeveloped. All of a sudden, this talent hotbed was produced where all this talent was pumping through, mate. And within the book, he basically explains that those people went and studied like Brazil and how they were producing these kind of players and stuff like that. And the way in which they explained it, mate, literally it just all made sense as I was listening to it. Also in Brazil, compared to like more developed countries, we have huge football pitches, normal footballs, football boots. We're chilling, mate. We can play football properly, essentially. And in third world countries, mate, they were essentially playing football in cages. They had no shoes, playing on concrete, playing with flat balls, no balls, like tennis balls, all sorts of madness, mate. Like, you know, futsal balls as well. That's where also futsal became a thing. And basically, like, what that was exposing them to was smaller pitch, cage-like environment, smaller ball, more chance of making a mistake.
Yeah.
And after making that mistake, you're essentially, the more mistakes you're making, the more the myelin's wrapping, and the more that you're just getting better, you're becoming more talented. And it all just sank in for me when I realised that when they're playing on these small pitches and they're being exposed to the ball more, meaning they're making more mistakes more, which means they're getting better, faster, and they end up obviously producing nuts players compared to the more developed countries that are playing on huge football pitches with big balls. Literally, bro, it's an absolute madness. And I started to realise, mate, that that's how I became one of the best players in the world when it came to COD, mate, because I was in a competitive environment. That was a hotbed almost.
Definitely.
Competitive environment, being around people that were the best of the best. And every time I made a mistake, mate, it was like, why did that happen? How can I correct it? And how can we better this as a team and move forward?
Yeah.
And having that level of mindset, mate, in a game of COD, you're probably exposed to about, in a competitive game anyways, about 60 engagements, mate, which is about 60 opportunities to make a mistake in a 10-minute period.
So about decision making, innit?
Literally, bro. In that 10-minute period, bro, the fact that you're exposed to essentially 60 possible engagements or 60 possible mistakes, it's literally like, think about how quickly you can get fucking better by being in that environment or being around people. And people used to come at my stream quite a lot and go, John, I've played COD since I was 10 and I'm fucking nowhere near as good as you and blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't to toot my horn or nothing. They were genuinely curious. I was like, and at the time I'd never read this book, never even understood it. I just knew that it made sense in my head that that environment I was in allowed me to thrive. And as I'm reading the book, mate, it's just making more and more sense that can be applied to fucking anything, mate. Absolutely anything. You expose yourself to that level of mistakes. It's just mistake, solution, how to move forward, and constantly exposing yourself to that and becoming sharper. And it's just something that's like anyone takes. You shouldn't
fear failure as well, man.
Yeah,
you should want it to that, man. You can learn from it.
Exactly that, bro.
100%.
It's a fucking nuts book, mate. Anyone needs to get their hands. I can't remember why we got onto that, mate. What was the thing before that?
Oof. Don't know, man. Just kind of went off tangent.
You were saying about losing friends, changing habits, and then you'd sort of said about the 5 people running about you and then the talent code.
Yeah, mate. So it would have been like, obviously the kind of epiphany moment of the talent code was happened this Tuesday, funny enough, mate. So Tuesday is the busiest day for YE, and that's the most focus groups. So that's when we run about 3 focus groups. They're all about an hour to an hour and a half. And on those focus groups, you're basically bringing people together, problem solving, speaking about our learning, speaking about whatever it is that we need to speak about to move forward. Because within business, mate, when if you don't have a business partner, if you're a solopreneur, it's fucking difficult, mate, when you've got all this shit going on. And the focus groups facilitates an area to essentially mind dump and to really brainstorm through either problems or new actions or new ideas. And Tuesday, I literally went on it every single session, mate, and I just went, right, fuck all that. You just need to know about this book, man. And I literally I must have just been like verbally sick over all of them, mate, because I couldn't stop talking about it, mate. I was just gassed, and it was like, I started to just get this feeling of like, everything I was speaking about that from the gaming side of things, it's transferable into business or transferable into any field. It actually makes logical sense. Like, it's actually real. I'm not like just delusional that like, oh, like COD gave me the soft skills to go on and become great in business or whatever it was. There was actual logical proof. And I started to realise more and more that could just be applied to anything, mate. So I started thinking about things like, mate, fuck it, I'm just going to go be a footballer, bro. Like, just fucking anything, bro. And it was like that focus group environment, mate. Like, one of the lads who, when he first joined, he was an employee. And that's the thing, like, YN's open to any aspiring entrepreneurs or anyone that just wants to be around more high-performing individuals. They want to rub off on them, they want to lean on them. And this lad's been part of YN for like 12 months or so.
Yeah.
And obviously I was like verbally sick overall about this fucking book and how amazing it was and blah, blah, blah. And I could see them all like taking notes and like actually like absorbing it. And at the end of it, he asked to wait back at the end and he was like, can I have a chat with you, John? And I was like, I'm going to hop on this meeting, mate. Let's book a call in for Friday. Chat with him on Friday, mate. And he was like, after that call, mate, something just sparked where I realised that I could produce this company that was going to house. It was almost like he'd built in his head this business model of how everything that he'd been working on all could become interlinked. And he was someone that when he first came to me, bro, he was just an employee that wanted to mingle with high performers. And now, like, the business model he was hitting me with, bro, like, was fucking shit hot, mate.
Right.
And his mindset as well, he was like, I want to do something more. And it was like you were saying at the beginning, I want to do something more that's more about like being like a support coach or being, like, people looked at him almost like a big brother, like a big cuddly bear almost, like, you know, wanted it. And he was like, I want to do something with that. Like, I love doing that. And I was just sitting there, mate, and it was exactly what you were saying. Like, just by mingling with people that are just doing something more than you that you potentially admire or whatever it may be, you just want to be there. Like, that can just change your whole fucking life completely, bro.
If your pals are learners, right, then you're going to be learning. You've got pals that are literally stopped learning when they left school, even if you want to call that learning, right?
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? When they leave school, if that was the last time that they read a book or even just learnt about anything, if they're not consuming anything, then you're going to get that age. That's the age of their learning. So if they're going to teach you anything, that's old methods, man. Whereas if I'm connecting with you, you're telling me about this book, you probably got other things you can teach me.
Yeah.
If that's who you're surrounding yourself with, then you're going to just be on the same level as them.
Exactly that, man. And like, I was so fortunate, mate, to when I like first came out business, I've spoken about it on multiple episodes. Like, my mum had already been in business. She's already built a phenomenal network. And I just had people that just, one of our sponsors, mate, like Andrea, mate, she wanted to just sponsor me just because I was my mum's son, mate. She wanted to sponsor revenue, offer discounts, fucking anything she could to support us, mate. And like, they come into business, they have people that want to offer that level of support, want to help you, want to guide you, want to do anything they can, offer their time, services, whatever it is, just because of the person you are. Like, everyone deserves that, bro. Like, everyone. And the thing about business is, like, coming into it, mate, you just feel like you're getting, if you get into the wrong room, bro, you're just getting suckled by sharks, mate. You're just getting ready to get swallowed up and milked, bro. Like, and I had to eliminate that, bro, because nobody, I know that if I never had that environment, and when I first went into business in the first place, just to visit some things and stuff like that, and because I ran a custom sneakers business with one of my close mates when I was 19, and at the time my mum had just came into business, and I said to her I'd go to a few networking events and stuff like that, see what it was like, bro. I turned up to me and I was like, mate, I don't want to fucking do this, bro. I don't want to be here every week. I don't want to be standing up doing fucking pitches that were just like, just hoping, bro. That's all, pitch and hope, that's all it was, mate. And I was like, it was awkward. It was, 6 o'clock in the morning. It was just, I just didn't want to be there, bro. It was something, it was really underwhelming for me. That was the thing. It was like, business is meant to be nuts, mate. And this is fucking shite, bro. Well, I don't want to be here. And I remember saying that to mum, and mum was like, try and find something for maybe it's an age thing. Maybe you could find something for people your own age. And I couldn't find anything really in Glasgow that I could really come across that really ticked the boxes that I wanted. And it's also began, like, YEN is called the Young Entrepreneurs Network, but it's nothing to do with age. It's just a young revolutionary way of networking, something that's different, something that's open-minded, something that's not that closed box pitching, not necessarily pitching malarkey, because pitching can work, bro, but it needs to be something more meaningful. You're speaking about from the connection you sparked to Mark. Everyone deserves that kind of connection with someone, anyone that, they're going to be someone that demands more from you, and you're going to go on and do a madness. And aye, bro. Everyone deserves
having
it.
that support network basically inspired you to start again. So you're saying?
Pretty much, bro. It could have been I knew that I had a level of self-belief through the admiration I had for a close mate that I could go on and do anything that I really wanted, whether it was trading, whatever it was I wanted to do. But it was a fulfillment aspect, the purpose. It was like you can help people go on and do phenomenal things. Like there's just so it's like Sir David Brailsford, the cycling coach. He like coached like Great Britain to like 150 odd medals out of like 200. It was a madness. And he was on a podcast yesterday with Stephen Bartlett, and he was like, "It's easy to produce the best results for yourself because it's you against you essentially."
That's it.
It was like, but to produce the best results for somebody else, you have to be a different level of shit hot, bro.
That's
like
it.
you have to be nuts. Like you just have to be. I highly recommend that podcast episode to anyone, man. It's nuts, mate. There was one thing though we spoke about when we came in, mate, and it was what it's actually like to work multiple businesses and the stress and the overwhelming that yes, it's fucking you're demanding so much for yourself and you're so fulfilled and you're doing so much, but it can take quite a fucking toll.
That's crazy, man. You can ask my girlfriend that question, man. Honestly, man. Nah, fair play. But nah, genuinely, like, it's just not being able to, it's hard to switch off.
Yeah.
When you work a 9 to 5, when 5 o'clock comes, you think about your job? Probably not.
Yeah.
You're just switching off, you're going to the next thing. Whereas when we wake up in the morning, that's the first thing we think about. And honestly, it's like probably the last thing we think about. For me, I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. I'm definitely no mastered it. In fact, obviously a couple of weeks ago, man, I ended up my A&E just due to stress and stuff like that, man. So it's like I'm definitely working on it, but I kind of just say to myself for these last 2 months, I'm just going to put everything into my businesses, man, and obviously paid some consequences.
Yep.
I even left the gym to the side. So I've sacrificed a lot, man.
Yeah.
I feel like, yes, you need the gym for obviously mindset and stuff like that, but short term, just for these 2 months, obviously I'm going back to the gym sort of next week now. This is the end. But I says, nah, in order for things, because it's the start of the year, man. We had zero stock, so we've had to put sort of a lot of work in, all these all my businesses, man. And I was like, it's going to come with some sacrifice, and it was basically time, mate, and no go to the gym and stuff like that, man. Which I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm not even recommending that. It's just it's like if you watch Elon Musk, he works 7 days a week. Sleeping in his office and stuff like that. So, and he even says, look, I don't recommend this, but again, sometimes you just need to do it for short periods of time, and then obviously sacrifice now just for a couple of months, and then I'm planning on sort of hopefully moving away to Dubai, so I'll have not just time freedom, I'll have location freedom as well.
Yeah.
Can work from my laptop, enjoy what I'm doing, sort of thing. But there definitely comes a point when you're running your own business where you should probably think to yourself, look, health comes first, didn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Health definitely comes first. I was probably just nobody can really tell me. I've not got a boss to go, you're overworking. I've got my mum and dad will tell me all the time. They're like, you need to just calm down. And I'm like, I'm not going to listen to you. And because obviously my work's primarily laptop and phone, mostly phone, that mobile's in my pocket, man. Do you know what I mean? So even harder to switch off then.
Yeah. And it's something that like the stress and the overwhelm, Paul brought up earlier. What was the way you explained it, mate? The way in which it transfers into our neck and our.
If your mind will give you hints towards that you're stressed out, but if you ignore it, it will put into your body so that you listen.
Aye, mate.
That's more or less what happened to me last week, mate. Obviously the podcast was meant to happen on the Thursday. Luckily it got moved, to be honest, man, because I was like, still going to turn up, but I was scubbed, man. I wasn't fully there either, man. Even days after it, man, it took me a while to get back to normal, man. But see, when your phone's pinging all the time, if people are phoning you, you've got emails coming in every day. So I'm productive. I'm productive every day. It's like tasks. 'Cause at the end of the day, if you don't put any action into your business, then nothing's going to move. Unless you've not got people working for you that's putting action into your business, again, it's not going to go anywhere. So every day I set myself up with tasks. But what I felt like is the tasks never end, mate. Honestly, I could get the 6 tasks done the day, and then I put my tasks in for the morrow, and there's another 12. Some of them can't get done because some things are out with my control, and the tasks just pile up, and you're like, whoa, man. You know what I mean? I need to do all this.
Yeah.
Obviously, what we've done with our businesses, it's delegated a lot of jobs like fulfilling orders. Social media gets run by a company. We've employed people to do Facebook ads. We've got people that do the customer service for us as well.
Yeah.
So putting a lot of business jobs to other people has definitely helped out.
Yeah.
But again, when we've delegated jobs, it just means we are focusing on actually growing the business.
Yep.
It's not that people think, oh, as soon as you give the jobs up, man, that's you can sit and relax. No,
Yeah.
you'll find something else that that needs done.
I think that's the difference where, like, when people see like Elon Musk and stuff like that, the difference is where, like, Elon, like, yeah, he's a fucking, he's an absolute workaholic in every level, mate. But his company's run without him, bro. It doesn't. He's there to like do whatever fucking Elon Musk does, mate. But it's like those companies run without him. Whereas, like, when it is the very beginning, mate, and you don't have the cash flow or you don't have the clients or like
You're everything, man.
You're this solopreneur that's fucking in every place and like. I even recently done my capacity plan, mate. To do my capacity plan, I had to track my hours worked and where I was working them essentially. For like how I wanted to scale YN this year and the second year, and how I wanted to like bring on like a sales associate. I wanted to bring on a virtual assistant. I wanted to essentially like bring on coaches to facilitate the focus groups too. So I wanted to, if I brought on all three of those positions within my capacity plan, the time obviously aspect would, one, allow me to scale and hit the targets that I want, but two, it would allow me to actually focus on how I was actually going to facilitate that scale. So if I bring a sales associate and you're talking about like how many sales would you say you get a week when you worked as a salesman?
On average, 5.
So let's just fucking say that because it's business to business, it might be a bit different. Let's say that I bring in a fucking sales guy that's so shit hot that it brings in fucking 8 clients a month.
Mate, you could be a better salesman than you.
Literally, bro.
Obviously, with my coaching business, man, I've just started that in January. Helping others start their own business, helping small businesses grow. That's what it's basically based around.
Yeah.
I'm on month 2, and I've got a sales rep already, and I've got somebody that runs my socials. So I was probably one of the hardest jobs to get up, mate, because I do sales. You know what I mean? But didn't really see it like sales, mate. Like, it's not like the hard seller, man. It's just being able to communicate with people. Because at the end of the day, somebody's joining my program, they need to buy into me. They need to trust me and stuff like that. So before anybody joins my program, I'm jumping on a one-to-one call with them, speaking with them, taking them through what they can expect, what they get for their money, how they're going to get their investment back. Just obviously answering all the questions and stuff like that. So I'm more confident. But I've gave that job away already. One of my mates, Dylan, he actually joined the program, getting results already. He was in 95. He was doing sales on the phone. He was hating it, mate. Absolutely hating it. He was only making like, I don't know, maybe £300 a week or something like that. His first week I working with me, handed in his notice. Just handed his notice, came work for me. First week I doubled his wage. And he's making money through the program as well. Again, man, obviously there's something special about him, man. It's his mindset, because I can't teach hunger. You know what I mean? They need to have that. I'll just give them the skills. I can't teach them hunger. That could have been somebody else, and they wouldn't have got that opportunity through me. He showed me that he was dedicated, and I was like, cool, man, let's bring you on. And I gave that job up. So a job that I'm amazing at. But this is a thing, man, like, although I'm amazing at that job, if I just continued, because literally, mate, I'm not even joking, man, on Friday, we had 6 calls, mate.
I've seen your screenshot of your story.
So I'm like, what the hell, man? Imagine I was doing these 6 calls. I'm trying to scale businesses, man. It's just not going to work, man. So that's the point for me where I was like, I can't do that part anymore. So I delegated early. I'm only 2 months into this, and I've employed somebody already. So I don't be scared to delegate, man.
For sure, bro. This can be something as well for anyone like watching it. Maybe doesn't have, like, I'm fortunate enough to have incredible people around me, mate. And even this conversation with yourself, mate, we could go off camera and we could literally sit and chat about how we could make that happen in such a short space of time, whatever it is. And we'll do it on this podcast for anyone that's listening. But see, when you've got access to incredible people that can open those doors. So I've been working with like Kath, who I'm actually going to get her on the podcast, mate.
Cool.
She's someone that she's been financially free since she was 47. She is, multiple properties. She's just a wonderful individual, mate. And she started a company called My Master Plan. And that master plan was essentially about making business plans simple. And that business plan, you basically have your own business plan that used almost like your North Star, that was like your guidance through everything that you wanted to scale and everything you wanted to obtain. And then obviously you have your investor plan, which is for obviously securing investment and scaling in that avenue as well. And for like to work with her, mate, like even something like a capacity plan, mate, no scooby what a capacity plan was, mate, until I spoke to her. Like, and that capacity plan, when I was sitting looking at it, and she asked me to track my hours and she asked me to work out where I was working the most, and it was even basic things like you bring on a coach, how much are you going to pay them? And I'm like, mate, I don't know how much I'm going to fucking pay them, bro. I don't know. And it was like little things like that, and working at the salaries that I'd be looking to pay and how to factor it in and putting it into the forecast. Don't have the right people around you, bro. You just do it mindlessly, mate.
I know. So not having the right people around you, but what I had to do, mate, because I didn't have the right people around me, I invested in a mentor start of the year there to basically help me become a coach.
Yep.
Because yes, I know everything about e-commerce, right? But you need to learn how to be able to coach people. Do you know what I mean? So I invested a good amount. It was like £6,000 into a mentor at the start of the year. Made that money back already. So well worth it. Not only that, man, is everything I've learned for that. So if you can't get access to obviously a support network, people that are like yourself, then mate, invest in yourself, man. Invest in a mentor, somebody that's done it before.
Yeah,
that's what I've done.
And see, so when you were thinking about the connections that I could see from what you were speaking about, right? In your kind of space, obviously, like you said, they're buying into you. So what is the role of, you say his name was Dylan?
Yep.
Yeah. What is the role of Dylan then when he comes in as a sales? So does he go out and build the relationships and then take the discovery calls? And then...
So yeah, he takes like the initial call to get them enrolled.
Okay.
Again, basically, he's been in the program, so he's obviously getting results. He's selling, so it's NFT digital frames. So people can basically show off their NFTs in the physical world.
Yeah.
Like a backdrop sort of thing. Yeah. He's doing that, and so what was the question? What's his role?
Essentially, like when you were bringing him in, like how, because the way I wanted to bridge a gap essentially was like they're buying into you, but you got someone else selling for you.
I know.
So like, what is his role essentially? Yeah.
That's it, man. So he obviously needs to sell the program. He'll still get people to buy into me. Like, why not date yourself? Why would you pick Scott? Like, that's one of the questions. Like, why would you choose Scott and not just date yourself? So again, it is still selling me. I've just got somebody doing it in my behalf. And
your leads are generated via social media, or
TikTok is massive now. So it wasn't TikTok, man. I've obviously used many methods. These are some golden nuggets, by the way, man. I can share, but obviously for my coaching business, I use influencer marketing as one of them. Spend about £800 a month now. We're going to up that. Facebook ads. So these are things that cost money, but at the very beginning, I was doing free marketing. The main one is TikTok. So I started TikTok 2 weeks ago, and I've gained 11,000 followers. So man, which is fucking mental, to be honest. And the amount of messages that are flying in my Instagram, it's crazy. Crazy, man. So obviously, like, TikTok's free at the end of the day. So if you're not on TikTok and you've got a business, get on it. Because at the end of the day, what's the worst that can happen? It'll be a waste of your time. But if you do it right, like I invested in a TikTok mentor, wanted to sort of know the algorithm. I know we were speaking earlier, you was telling me that nobody knows the algorithm, but some people just know sort of tips, tips, man. So he was giving me some tips, man, how they go in depth, man, like this is how long your video should be and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, right, cool, if it gets me, mate, I've grown fucking double the amount in such a short space of time, and that traffic's free. It's cost me my time, and it's 15-second videos, mate. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to become a content creator. I tried to avoid it, mate. I want to put myself out there, but I knew it wouldn't just to be a content creator, man. I wanted to have it based on being an entrepreneur. If I was going to put myself out there, get all the stick that you get, all the pure people just reflecting on themselves on you, man. If I was going to do that, it needs to be for a good reason, man. And obviously, me starting a business to help people is a good enough reason to have dafties in my comments. Do you know what I mean? So,
what was the one that I replied to? When I messaged on your story.
Somebody says, call me the Spotty Wolf of Wall Street. Or not, I might have been another one, man. Honestly, mate, I'm getting hundreds of them, man. Mate, I'm like, fuck it. But my rule is, man, just don't comment back. If you're going to comment, it's going to be with a video to get you more engagement. But if you're just feeling the fire, man, just let them, because it's the same people all the time. I'm like, man, no way. There's like 2 people, mate, right? Commented 6 times, man, every video. They don't even follow me, so they're just seeing me on the For You page, and I'm like, sad, man. Sad.
Yeah.
How many other people they comment on, like, just go and enjoy your life, mate. Know what I mean? But again, don't envy these people, man. They're obviously not in a good place themselves.
Yeah. And also a massive thank you for sharing the kind of gold nuggets, mate, because anyone can take that forward and put anything into place. And like you said as well, you're giving actionable tips that are actually like you said, you've done it free. You know, and most barrier to entry for people starting out is obviously cash flow. So but to be able to find something that works for them, and maybe TikTok won't be for them in it, but it's
That's it.
just about trying it and seeing if it's something that suits yourself. And the content creation aspect, I agree with you, mate. But it is a form of attraction marketing in it. Your face is out there, they're seeing you, and the more digging that they do, the more they get to see who Scott McClure actually is. And
Yeah.
just so happens to mate, like that fucking the podcast ad of the
That's it.
like that
Aye.
even that simple scenario of like I want to start a jewelry business or a
That's
bespoke jewelry business or whatever. And all it takes is one little 15-second video, mate, for them to do some digging on you and realise that you could be someone that could change their life.
Definitely, man. I think there's a pure misconception with TikTok, man. Maybe to start because of the way it was. Obviously, it came around in lockdown, but see now, man, it's massive for business.
Yeah.
Not only that, your personal brand as well. So, and it's becoming more normality for people to go live, which I would advise anybody to do. I'm not doing it yet, but for my personal brand, doing it for the clothing brand to go live in the office, mostly Mark. And that's how we're selling so much clothes, mate, and it's free for going live. But I will be doing it for my personal brand. I'll be doing it for Allure as well once I get sort of maybe a following. But going live on TikTok, mate, it's like, see if you, so I don't know if you know anything about like TikTok, the TikTok shop.
I've not been on it recently, mate. I actually deleted it off my phone because it was consuming too much of my time, mate.
Aye, it's mad, it's addictive, mate. It's the infinite scrolling, man. But so the TikTok shop, basically what that is, big creators that have got thousands of followers, like 500,000 and stuff like that. Obviously, let's say like 3 in the morning TV, like is it QVC? Is that what it is? So they've kind of used that and put it onto their platform. So when creators are going live, what they can do is they can attach a wee shopping basket down the bottom left.
Right.
So they've got the products. It's basically the exact same, only it's on TikTok. They're selling products. You just need to click on the basket and you can buy it within TikTok. So we're getting sales out with our website through TikTok. TikTok's got their own shop now, which there's brands out there that aren't even on TikTok, never mind on the TikTok shop.
Yeah.
So what you can essentially do is you can get other creators to sell your stuff. So like see your clothing brand that you're wearing just now. What you can essentially do is you get on TikTok shop, upload your stuff, and then they give you all the creators' WhatsApps. You obviously need to pick like influencers that are suit your brand.
Yep.
Their following need to represent who would normally buy from you. You're not going to approach a women influencer that's majority women if it's obviously a male target market you've got. But if you target the right influencers, then on TikTok shop, man, they sell your stuff for you on TikTok and they just take a small commission.
Fucking nuts.
I know. So again, it's free, no risk, because at the end of the day, if they don't sell your stuff, you're not paying them to sit there and sell your stuff. They just get a commission in every sale. And it's direct sales. It's literally direct sales because it's people are going through their live stream and they can see them. They've got you can send them out a sample and they can be like, look, this is so and so clothing brand, cosmetics, whatever it is.
That's fucking nuts, bro. That is actually, obviously we briefly spoke about it, I think, on when we went for food that time. I think you said to me that Mark was like just blowing up with it, mate, and just doing madness. And all these kind of new things are getting implemented, bro. It's probably why for me, like, I wanted to double down on what I actually enjoyed doing. And like, because when I first went into business, it was generic stuff like going to networking events.
Yep.
I enjoy going to networking events, bro. That's why YN doesn't host any networking events, because the fucking founder doesn't enjoy them himself. So it was very much like I was going to these networking events, wasn't enjoying it. I get up ridiculously early anyways, mate. And I actually want to speak about the fact that you
mate, it's still the same, by the way, man.
It's still the same,
aye. Honestly, mate, take pride in it, man.
And getting up in the morning, but I have set routines of like what I do first thing in the morning, and one of them is definitely not engaging and going on a networking event and doing all this madness, mate. And it really can take me off my groove, mate. It can really, as an introvert as well, it can be really mentally taxing when you're, especially early on, if it's taking you off your groove and you're engaging people, it can really fall in to the rest of the day, and it can really also impact you. And I was sitting on them, mate, and I was thinking, I've got a huge platform in the game side of things, got a huge network over there, got access to some phenomenal people that I've worked with and played with for fucking years. Why would I not just spend time building relationships over there with people that could benefit me tenfold? Not in terms of they're a means to an end and my business would then boom, just in terms of they're the kind of people I'd want to be mingling with.
Yeah.
And it was like, there's no one way of like, just do this and you'll be sound. Just literally find whatever the fuck works for you, man. And once you find whatever works for you, mate, you're flying. You're flying because you'll love doing it as well.
Yep.
And that's kind of a TikTok shop ass. That fucking blows my mind, mate. Doesn't surprise me though.
It's madness, mate. It's like QVC, mate. Exactly the same as that. Only obviously you're probably wondering who buys stuff at like the 3 in the morning or that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, there probably is because they're still doing it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But not only that, man, they're selling like products to the TikTok target market, so it's like younger demographic, mate. I can assure you that these young people are sitting in their bed at 10 o'clock watching a creator's live stream and going, oh, here, man, I actually need some Olaplex. You know what I mean? I'm going to buy that. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
And obviously Mark gets a commission in that. And like, it's not only that, see for small brands as well. Just going live on TikTok, documenting the journey, documenting if you've got an office. People are doing it for their house. Yeah. We're doing it for our office, basically showing their orders getting packed. It's that personal touching. When people go on your website, you need to see that as like your shop front. Now, if they've got, especially in clothing, man, there's like wee blockers that stop people buying your clothes, man. It can be, is this going to fit me? Like, what, do you know what I mean? What size should I get? All that kind of stuff. All these similar questions, man. And when we're on live with them, this is the questions we're getting. We're overcoming the blockers direct, man, and they're getting it for the actual owners of the brand.
Yeah.
Even if we we are going to end up massive, but when we get there, mate, we'll still be doing lives. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's no like, we'll always have that personal touch.
So many nuggets, so many golden nuggets in this, bro. Honestly, mate, the value in this is fucking mental. There is one thing though that I wanted to speak about, mate. It's purely because when you produced this said idea, it was around about the time that I just recently started following you, and I remember the idea kind of came out and the business started, and I remember telling my mum about it. She was like, "That's a fucking dynamite idea," and it was canny cocktails.
Oh, mate, class.
Honestly, mate, that idea, COVID. Nobody had access to cocktails, and you literally, who was it you ran it with? Did you run it with Mark? Yeah.
Aye.
And I remember you posting a video on your story, mate, and it was like these huge water cooler bags, and it was like you went around your garden, and it was like 8 bags, mate, full of them, bro.
Mate, madness, man. Obviously, it just started as an idea. Mm-hmm. Something we'll probably have to tell the grandmates, you know what I mean? Like crazy, man. But one of the ones, mate, I got the idea. On the phone to Mark. Now this happens quite often, mate, probably, and he phones me with an idea. I'm like, nah. But this one was like, no, we need to take action on this, mate. And he's like, you know what, man, that sounds like a belting idea. I was like, no, the new. It's the new or no at all. He's like, right, cool. He's like, right, what we doing then? I was like, well, we're ordering 4,000 plastic bowls. I was like, we're ordering 4,000 plastic bowls. He's like, aye, cool. Went no, like 100. I was like, no, mate, we're doing this properly. And then, well, I think about it, man, I remember. So they've got that like 4,000 plastic bottles, man, in my backyard. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And we've not even got the social media up and running yet. I was like, nah, it's going to work, man. Don't worry about it. And then obviously my mum and dad, right, was running for their house, to start with, and like they were like, "You better get rid of these, man." Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They were putting pressure on me. So we made an Instagram, man, and because it was alcohol, mate, it kept getting shut down, right. And it was nearly shattered. You know what I mean? We were like, honestly, I'm on the phone to Martin. I'm like, what are we going to do here? Like, what are we going to do? He's like, what can we do then, man, if the Instagram just keeps getting shut down? I was like, Snapchat. Mate, we ran it via Snapchat, probably better, because it's literally just a messenger. Mm-hmm. People are just placing orders through Snapchat. Started off as like selling a few, and then it just blew up, mate. Yeah. Literally blew up. Try to remember the exact number, man. I don't want to be telling pokies here, but I think we made £50,000. I think it was maybe like 9,000 cocktails we sold. That works out right, selling at £6. Don't know, good your master. But £6 a cocktail, man. Literally, man. 3 months we done it for, and we've patented the name so we can bring it back, and that's the plan.
That is fucking nuts, bro.
We're going to bring it back, but it's going to be in shops, kind of thing, man. It's going to be like glass bottles. It wouldn't work. So it was basically, for anybody that doesn't know, it was basically like during lockdown. Nobody had access to the pub, they weren't allowed. So it was a service where we would literally cocktails to your door. So we would have drivers, mate. We honestly had 3 drivers. I was driving, Mark was driving, my pal Taylor, and my other pal Andy. So that was 4 drivers we had most weekends. And I mean, I would cover Glasgow, Mark would cover like Edinburgh, you're talking Ayrshire. I think the furthest we actually sent people, man, Paisley, we covered everywhere. And then we actually had people that would come and buy it from us bulk and go and sell where they stayed. Do you know what I mean? So they weren't even coming up with their own cocktail company. It was your brand. The Canny Walktails brand just blew up, man, and people wanted to sell their cocktails.
Doesn't surprise me, bro. Honestly, like when I remember like seeing it, and it was obviously at that time I was like full time streaming and just gaming just constantly. I remember seeing it and thinking, what a fucking idea, mate! Like what an idea! And I remember my mum's face when I told her about it, and her first thought was like, we should get some, and that was literally the first thought, mate. And it was like the actual idea. And then I did see that you did have it in some shops, so some corner shops.
That's right, man. We could have scaled it, mate, but because we were making them ourselves, it wasn't that scalable. I mean, we were literally, so I was still selling at the time, mate. And I had it with my boss. I'll get an early finish on a Friday. So it was like I would finish at 2 o'clock. I would come in and start making cocktails, mate, for the night. Guess what, man? We were honestly all night doing it, and then in the next day, 10 o'clock in the morning, as soon as I woke up, basically, man, back to the cocktails, and then we date on a Sunday as well. And then sometimes during the week, but obviously at night. Hectic, man.
How many did you produce like per hour, for example? Like when you're sitting making them?
We got right good at it, man. To be honest, we actually got right good at it, man. Like I'm not exactly a bartender, but I mean, I think Mark was actually better at it, man. So see, Mark, right? Obviously, we're good at certain things, man, but Mark just has this thing where he just wants to make everything easier, which is like amazing to have, man. Because sometimes I'm not like that. If I find a way to do something and it works, I'll just stick with it. But nah, the way his brain works is he'll look at something and go, how can I do this quicker? And I'm like, sometimes it's like mad and it probably won't work, but something like 9 times out of 10, honestly, man, he'll come up with something. And so we ended up making them batch bulking at one point, literally. And we could make probably like 100 in an hour at one point.
It's fucking mental, mate. That is actually mental. That's a
I
story.
actually showed people on TikTok how we made them and like how quickly we made them as well.
How did you make them? Did you use like fuck knows, mate. In my head, I'm not even going to attempt it, mate.
So like, see how you get like, I don't even know what they're called, mate. But like, feel like a slushy machine now. They've got the big tank. Well, we just had a big massive tank, mate. Basically made the cocktail. Like you had to obviously at first of all just making up cocktail by cocktail, but that's not going to work when you're scaling. So basically a big massive tank. We made enough, and then we just sit and pull the cocktails at the bottom.
That's fucking class. That's efficient as fuck, mate. I know. You're chilling.
I had a few of them, mate.
That's fucking dynamite, mate. That is, I knew that. I couldn't wait to speak to you about that, mate, because it was like, we never spoke about it, but it was something that I was like, that's a story for the pod, mate. The same way you're all like, that's a story for the Grand Wayne, mate. That's a story for the pod. Like,
and like all my pals just wanted to help out. There was nothing to do. During lockdown, all my pals would literally come into my house. It was like the highlight of their day. And the customers loved it or not. Like I actually enjoyed it because see when I was dropping them off at one point, and when I was dropping them off, it was like customers were loving it, mate. Absolutely loving it.
I'm just
we
imagining
could repeat custom constantly for the same people. I'm
just imagining like the sun beaming, driving like your car, like music playing, just making a fucking bomb, bro. Like that's the life, bro.
No, it is. It was insane, man. Covered a lot of miles, but I loved it, mate.
Your car probably got rinsed, mate. To be fair.
Oh, aye, mate. I was selling windows here, there, and everywhere, man.
Aye.
So even get rinsed in that, but I was driving all the time.
Yeah.
I ended up losing my license, obviously, man. But I think that's probably because of how much I drove.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen, mate. I was driving probably too much.
Yeah, definitely, mate. No, I get that. Are you back driving now, or are you still?
I'm sitting my test next week, summer. So I got revoked. I didn't get it. I wasn't banned or anything like that. I got it revoked. Passed my theory. Just need to pass my test, mate, which is next week. So
you're chilling, bro.
I'll get it, mate. I can drive, mate. You know what I mean? That's a mistake, man. I think it was like the last one there was literally I was driving to an appointment, mate. So honestly, the work as much as I was making that much money, man, it probably cost me a fortune on motors and that. I was doing 10 mile out of the speed limit on the motorway, man, and police have caught me driving to an appointment. I mean, try to get there on time, man.
Yeah,
cost me.
It's mental, bro. I think the driving aspect is when you're driving constantly, mate. Like It's like that feeling like when you get, I don't know, a new car or like a new something, you're so buzzing to drive, but see when you're just constantly driving, bro, you just takes
I
the
was,
fun right
man.
out of it,
I
mate.
was. I've no drove for about 8-9 months now, so
You must
dying
be
to drive
gassed,
now, mate.
you'll be gassed to get back
Get
in it,
back
mate.
to it.
Obviously, there's so much value in this pod, mate. But a couple of things I want to obviously round off with, mate. One of which was the reason why I want to bring it up is because so many people think and they see things like Elon Musk. They see things like the 5 a.m. club. They see all this kind of stuff that's very much like this is what you need to do to be successful. And also when we first met, I think you texted me being like, I'll get up about 11 and I'll come meet you at 12. I was sitting there thinking, you're up at 11. I was like, and then when we obviously actually chatted about it, you spoke about how that you just operate better at night, essentially.
That's it, man. Mate, I've tried it. I've literally tried it, mate. I've tried it for long periods of time, so I just know it's no for me, man.
Yep.
Might switch to it one day, but I've tried it, mate. 5 in the morning, and it just means I end up going to bed earlier, mate. I was getting up at 5 in the morning maybe last year for a good while, and then it was getting to sort of 3 o'clock, mate, in the day. Still light outside, man, and I'm crashing.
Yeah.
And see, this is obviously you see the gurus, mate, making the videos, man, on YouTube, on TikTok.
Yeah.
This is my morning routine, man. I can guarantee you, mate, they're not doing that every day.
Yeah.
But fair play to them if they're using some aspects of it, man. See, like meditation, man. I do meditation.
Yeah.
The reading, I don't do as much anymore, but I would highly recommend it as long as
Yeah.
you're taking action for the books that you're reading. But for me, like I felt like I was trying to do probably too much, man. So at 5 in the morning, like your routine, man, meditating, journaling, reading. See, by the time it got to actually do my work, the thing that's actually I'm wanting to grow, the business, mate, I was shattered.
Yeah.
Absolutely shattered. So obviously when I was selling windows, man, we didn't really get an appointment till like 11 o'clock. So my body was just used to sort of not having to get up too early, man.
Yeah.
So now, literally, mate, body clock. See, I don't even set alarms, mate.
Yeah.
My missus is obviously staying at my house. I'm like, hate her when she's got alarms on, man. I'm like, nah, no alarms, mate. Because I just feel like alarms, obviously, people need them to get up in time for work, man. But let's be honest, man, like your body's going to tell you when to wake up.
Yeah.
You want no alarm, man. It's not really a good feeling to get you up. So I normally get up, no as late as 11, man, but 9, 10, unless I've got something on. But my body sort of just wakes me up at the right time. And I'm like so productive, mate, at night time, man. It's mad. I think it's like the feeling like I'm no meant to be working, so it's more chilled and I can get more done. Whereas see when you're working in the moment, it's like I need to get this done.
Yeah.
Later on, I'm not supposed to be working, so it's like I enjoy it better.
Yeah.
No distractions, mate, at that time. I don't really like staying up too late though. No, like I'll not sit and stay up till like any past 1, 2 in the morning or that, because that's just going to gub you, man. But they getting up early, man. I mean, I want to see these entrepreneurs, man. See if they're actually getting up at that time, if they're just doing it for content.
Yeah. I think I've been getting up at 6 for the last fucking Monday to Friday, 6. Weekends more chilled, more relaxed. Like, just purely because one of the non-negotiables of working with Paula was like, you're going to stop working weekends. Because she's always all about working less and earning more. She doesn't want me. And obviously as well, it's like Parkinson's law. If you give yourself 7 days to work, you always find 7 days to work. You always. So for me, like when I stopped working weekends, obviously filming the pod, but I made it a non-negotiable rule of at the weekends it's just the stuff that I love doing, mate. Something that's, and I love don't get me wrong, I love building my business, but the stuff at the weekends, fun. Like last Sunday with the Young and Lazy shoot, mate, that was 4.5 hours. That was fucking dynamite, bro.
Where was it?
We had and Jude wanted to use a Q Park on St. Enoch Q Park.
That.
Fucking dynamite, mate. It was like videography and videography and photos. And I just sat in my car and just watched it, bro. And we had like one of the YN members, Kevin, came and shadowed Jude, so we had the behind the scenes shots as well. Nice. So they got sent through. It was off so fun, bro. And after we went to Bucks Bar, enjoyed some nice food, chilled out, and it was like, that's what I get to do for a living, bro. I get to do all this mad, like.
I know people say it's work, man. I don't. Obviously, if I'm overworking, it feels like work. But most of the time, man, like our office is such a good vibe, man.
Yeah.
Come into our office, mate. You obviously last time you couldn't come in, but any day of the week, mate, you come in, man. The tunes are blasting. Well, such a good vibe, mate.
Yeah.
Quite busy and all, man. So
for sure, mate. I do need that. That was one of on my capacity plan was getting an office. Also, I spoke to you about it on in December time because it was something that I feel like I need to separate the household environment from the work environment because you will just. I've got pretty good at switching off, but it needs to be times for me. So when it gets to about 6ish, that's when I start doing. I do routines. So in the morning, gratitude. It needs to be quick though, just like you said. It can't be
I know.
hours, mate. It's literally 10 positives from the previous day. I do stretches because I want to get back to the gym. So any sort of mobility and 5 pages takes like 15 minutes,
That's
bro.
easy, but
And once a
good.
minute to swing a bit. And at night time, reading, journaling, scheduling, stretches, straight into bed, and that's me chilling. So it's like they're my cues to chill. So once I'm finished, even if it's like 6 o'clock, mate. So like the Rangers game on Thursday, I wanted to also be finished for 8 to watch the
Right.
Rangers game. So it was like 6 o'clock, reading, journaling, scheduling, stretching. For 7, dinner's on, having food, chilling, bro.
That's
Everything's
it.
switched off. And it's, but that would be so much easier if I had my own space,
It's
bro.
whatever works for you, isn't it, at the
Yeah,
end of the day? That's
exactly.
why I kind of want to let people know, man. Don't think if you're not waking up at 5 in the morning, you can't have
Exactly,
successful
mate.
businesses. But I've got mates Dylan, who's obviously in my program, he gets up at 5 in the morning, man. I'm like, put me to shame here. But it's like, just as long as it's like, you're getting up at 5 in the morning, what time you go to bed at? Do you know what I mean? So you're
Yeah.
going to still have the same amount of time. It's just what you're doing with your time. Definitely need a morning routine, like meditating. I would advise anybody to try that out. I've got a meditation teacher. So I actually done a class for my clients as well.
Mhm.
Kind of done a collab to try and get people to do meditation. But if you're morning meditation, if you're watching these videos and the morning routines, like a few hours, man, well, if you've got things to get done, man, you've only got so much energy.
Yeah.
So energy needs to be put in the right places, man.
And the aspects of deep learning as well is like you're probably rocking maybe like 4 or 5 hours max of deep learning where you're actually firing on all cylinders like you should be. And if you're like morning routines taking like fucking 2 hours, mate, to get kicked into it, it's just gonna be fucked, bro. You're gonna and as well, like when we think about things like obviously you see these sort of things, you don't know how true it is, but it makes sense. But it's things like for example, Mark Zuckerberg wears the same t-shirt and jeans, not the
Aye.
exact same, but so
Yeah.
it limits the amount of decisions he makes.
I'm like that, mate. Got
Aye.
a clothing brand and I'll literally just stick on the same sort of clothes every day, man. It's something I don't want to think
Yeah.
about. I try and just see all the small decisions, man. I don't even like don't give yourself big decisions, man, every day.
Yep.
My mum and that, I obviously still live with my mum and dad. But what do you want for breakfast? I'm like, just make me breakfast and I'll eat it. Because I don't want to. I don't want to make that decision, man. Do you know what I mean?
No.
What am I wearing today? Like, just grab, boom, on, man. Let's get going, man. Let's make some real decisions here.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So to round it up then, mate, anyone that is wanting to start a clothing brand, start a company, what would be the like one piece of advice you would give them?
One piece, only allowed one piece. Do you know what it is, man? It's generally just start. Just
Take
start.
action.
Obviously that's what I done. I just started because that's one massive thing that happens. You'll get the procrastinators or the people that just do all the talking and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to start a gym next week. I'm not that person, mate. I'm an action taker.
Yeah.
Every time something comes out my mouth, it's going to happen, or I just do it without speaking.
Yep.
So in terms of like, if we're going with clothing brand here, like just start it. Obviously, I would say it's probably one of the most. I don't want to put people off,
Yeah.
but it's probably one of the most populated markets that's out there.
Yeah.
100%. So easy to start. So there is massive competition. So in terms of obviously how you actually become a massive brand is you need a unique value proposition.
Yeah.
And that's just something that makes you stand out from competitors, because why would somebody come to you when they could go to somebody else? And that's what I see in commonality with like big brands and stuff like that. They've got something. They've got a UVP. Sometimes it's price. So price can take you away from other brands
Yeah.
where you're positioned in the market. So if you're trying to, you can undercut people
Yeah.
to get people to come to you. You can, like Starbucks, man, they didn't undercut. They wanted to look higher in the market and obviously drove sales that way.
Yeah.
The design of your product can be your unique value proposition. The meaning behind your brand can be the unique value proposition. You could be, obviously, there's law of attraction. There's a mental health clothing brand that are smashing it.
Yeah.
I can't really, unsubtle skills,
Yeah.
smashing it. But why are they smashing it? Is it the material? It's actually no. It's the meaning behind the brand. Yes, you need a good quality product, first and foremost, but the good quality product isn't just going to get you sales at all in clothing, because there's so many clothing brands. So you definitely need a UVP, man, 100%.
Love it, brother. And in terms of like what you've got coming probably this year, whatever you're doing at the moment, obviously you started the e-commerce mentor side of things as of recent. Do you want to let the guys know a bit about what that actually is?
Yeah. So obviously I've ran 3 businesses, mostly e-commerce, which is online for anybody that doesn't know what e-commerce is. Basically selling online. It's no Amazon, it's no drop shipping, it's actually starting your own brand, which is much better because you own the stock, you own the brand essentially. If you're selling for Amazon, you're building their customer base, you're not building your own. So where was I going with that? Oh, I'm a coaching business. I'm away there, man. So I started that in January with 5 clients. And what it's about is basically taking young, it doesn't need to be young by the way, we've got people older as well, entrepreneurs that want to start their own business online, or small businesses that are either stuck in a rut and want to scale, or they could be actually doing all right and they just want to go that one level up. And they can get an insight to map our team, the people that I use. There's obviously a community on Discord. Obviously, everybody that joins my program are on Discord, speaking in the community, bouncing off each other, going through the same sort of daily struggles as each other. And they're also getting mentored by me, somebody that knows everything about e-commerce. And obviously, I've given some golden nuggets today, but there's plenty more golden nuggets obviously in my program. And that's what people pay for, because starting a business, man, when I started mine, I made hundreds of mistakes. Hundreds, man. I spent money in the wrong places. Lost a lot of money. Probably gained that back now, but literally, man, some people, if that happens to them, they'll just quit. Because they're like, if I've just spent £5,000 on this and it's no worked, you know what I mean? So I just make sure that you don't do that. I'm just going to cut out the mistakes. Put your time, because your time as well, your time and money in the right places. And that's what people that start a business without any business knowledge, of they've started a brand, is what they do is they spend time in the wrong place and they spend their money in the wrong places, and that ends up, because I think like the percentage of businesses that fails, like I'm going to say 80%, you can Google it, I think it's 80% of startup businesses stop within the first year, and then maybe the next 3 years, even bigger percentage.
I mean, it's something that you're just fast tracking the process for people, mate. And
That's
it's
it.
Everyone that's like, when you hear anyone that's, became successful, whatever it may be, having access to that support network early doors, or having access to someone that's done it, or having someone that's just, has someone that you admire, like we spoke about at the beginning, someone that you admire that is going to ignite that level of passion that's going to go on and allow you to become incredibly successful. And the difference is as well, what people don't realise with the coach and the mentor side of things, you're giving everyone the same, essentially like the same resources that are required, but everyone will get different results because every single person's different.
That's it.
And it's what you do with it.
What you do with it, man. Obviously, that's what I tell my clients, like, what's your results going to be? It's going to be obviously what you put into the program. There's one thing that, as I said before, I can't teach hunger. There's clients that have got more hunger. Some clients have got more time than others. That obviously puts them into an extra benefit. But I feel like because they've been held accountable by me, they've got a chat 24/7. Well, it's not 24/7, right? It was at one point, man. I was answering to anybody back at any time. But now, like, support network, they can message me. There's 2 group coaching sessions every week where they can jump on, speak to me. And it's the whole community aspect, I think, that's massive as well. It's not just that I'll fast track them to success. It's the fact that this is an asset for life. This community, once you're in it, that's you in. So this community will still be here in 5 years' time when you're still running your business. And it's just going to grow. So you've got access to all these people that are also running businesses.
Absolutely, bro. It's incredible, mate. And obviously, hats off to everything you're doing, mate. And thank you, obviously, for coming on as well, bro. It's been a fucking nuts episode, mate.
I appreciate you having me on, mate, honestly.
Going to be so much value that people will take away from this, mate. And anyone that's listening, whether you're on Spotify, obviously drop a follow, ring the bell. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell. This will be the second episode of season 2. First episode was with Josh and Ellie from Hearts. Some of the episodes we've got planned are going to be fucking nuts, mate.
Amazing,
so
man. Definitely be tuned in.
Getting them rolling out fortnightly. And thank you, obviously, to Paul, mate. You're the man.
Cheers, man.
Love it. Sorted, rounded up.